fun 5 minutes of your Monday. The Joust. Today's contestants are Chris Davis and Dimitri Zamaris. All right, guys, let's dive right in. We all get a little mad.
Yes. And then I was like, oh, you already talked about them, never mind. Back to the expansion pack, where we talk about video games, comic books, anime, and more.
We hope you missed us since last week we took a short break.
But we're back, and we're your host, Andy.
And I'm Reagan. Let's get into the news.
First, we would like to say our thoughts go out to the friends and families affected by Parkland shooting. Currently, gun control and finding a cause behind this act are in hot debates. And of course, one of the things figureheads like to blame is video games, even with the research behind it saying otherwise. However, Rhode Island has decided to try to take a step against violent video games. One of their House of Representatives has proposed a tax increase against violent video games. The tax increase proposed would include a 10% increase to games with a rating of mature or higher. For example, some games that would be taxed would be Nier Automata, God of War, Skyrim, and famously GTA. According to the proposal, this revenue would be used to look into mental health programs. Throughout his proposal, Representative says evidence supports his case, but did not cite any sources, also despite there being evidence for the opposite side of the argument. But we will just have to wait and see what might happen.
Honestly, can understand GTA.
I can understand GTA a little bit.
If you're a fan of tabletop gaming, you know Critical Role, Geek and Sundry's Twitch streaming show of D&D played by voice actors, recently ended a 2-year-long campaign. What you may not know is that fans of the show, Cantata Pansophical, rewrote Hamilton, an American musical, into Vox Machina, an Exandrian musical. It is a complete 47-song musical following the quest to take down the Dragon Conclave. If you don't want to have to sit through all 100+ episodes of Critical Role, this musical gives you the basic rundown of around 80 of them, hitting key points like characters almost dying and feuds between party members. The musical even created some side stories that did not originally appear in the show, with characters talking directly to the DM Matthew Mercer, and DM-controlled characters chatting amongst themselves. Every single song is available on YouTube, and you can also get a copy for download for free, but the creators are encouraging fans to donate money to several charities in the same fashion of Critical Role.
That's awesome that fans just went out and did this.
I know, it's incredible.
A lot of effort went into this. So Metal Gear is swinging in a new direction, it seems. Konami's Metal Gear Survive has stunned players with a certain feature. If you want a save character slot, well, you get one for free. Oh, you wanted more? Well, you might have to pay for it. Now, this game is filled with microtransactions, and this isn't the only thing you can buy, but this is the biggest frustrating item. If you want to buy more save slots, you might have to spend your CV coins, in-game currency that you can buy with real money. One save slot is 1,000 CV coins, which would be roughly $10 in actual money. I guess you can ignore this and use your saves wisely, but it seems a lot of gamers are not happy about it. So what do you think? Have you ever used real money for in-game currency?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. No. I've never done that.
I pay for the game and that's it.
Nick says he has.
Looks like EA's punishment for Star Wars Battlefront 2 is not yet over. According to Cinelinx, multiple sources have confirmed that Electronic Arts might be losing the Star Wars license. Disney and Lucasfilm have been talking with Ubisoft and Activision about possibly developing Star Wars games. Given the backlash EA has received from Battlefront 2, this almost comes as no surprise. The controversy on Battlefront 2's economy was so bad, it warranted a response from Disney executives, forcing the publisher to disable microtransactions. In an earnings call, EA CFO Blake Jorgensen stated that Battlefront 2 was expected to sell 10 million copies. However, the game underperformed, selling only 9 million copies. If that didn't make things worse, EA blamed the loot box controversy for Battlefront 2's poor performance, only to announce the return of its microtransactions shortly after.
They'll never learn.
Nope. This may have been the last straw for Disney, but there's no confirmation on these rumors yet.
Honestly, good on Disney to be like, nah.
Nah.
gotta make happy people so that they can buy more stuff of yours.
Most magical place.
Most magical. For transparency's sake, and I believe for also China's new laws, Riot Games has decided to release the League of Legends item drop rate numbers to the public. They release drop rate percentages for each chest that are currently in the game now. Now, if you're one of those people who has been trying forever to get a rare skin, this may give you a reason why. Riot announced new rules and variables that would affect the drop rates of items and what happens with duplicate drops. Well, at least one company is being brave with this, and I guess good on them. Like, what do you think? I would like to know for CSGO.
I would like to know.
I would like for CSGO. Valve, tell me what's in these cases. I'm trying to get a dragon lore.
For real. After 7 years of silence, the Burnout franchise is making a triumphant return. Burnout Paradise Remastered is coming to PlayStation 4 and Xbox One with a PC release later down the road. The game will support 60 frames per second across all platforms, which means the car crashes will look just as beautiful and destructive as they did 10 years ago. For $39.99, you'll get the original game, all of the DLC, except for the Time Savers pack. And at the time of announcing, no microtransactions.
Bliss.
Yes, you can put the torches down. EA's community manager, Ben Wolk, confirmed the game will now have no microtransactions or additional paid content. We'll see you on the tracks when Burnout Paradise Remastered releases on Friday, March 16th.
Maybe EA did learn something.
Maybe a little.
Just maybe. 2 years ago, Rocket League was given the new Batmobile from Batman v Superman as a playable car. DC Comics is teaming up with Psyonix again to bring players 2 new Batmobiles. The Tumbler from Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight films, and fun fact, the 1989 Tim Burton version, which my great cousin created. On top of that, users will be given wheels based on The Flash and Wonder Woman, as well as decals based on Aquaman, Superman, Green Lantern, and more. The DC Superheroes DLC pack will only cost $4, that's not that bad, and will be released March 5th. That's exciting. I play Rocket League, so that'd be really cool for me.
I want an invisible car.
I can drive the car my cousin made.
There you go.
That's cool.
Players Unknown Battlegrounds have been going through some rough times lately. While the company has managed to sell 30 million copies on PC, player retention has been incredibly low. According to SteamDB, the game has only managed to reach around 2 million players daily. What could be causing the loss in numbers, you ask?
Fortnite.
That, and it also could be because of the number of cheaters that plague the server.
True.
Last week, PUBG Corp came out and stated that future content will be delayed due to the fight against cheaters. Yes, the developers have been so busy banning cheaters that they had little time to develop future content. In January alone, more than 2.5 million players were banned for cheating.
That's too many.
Analysts expect that the number will increase to 4 million by the end of February. It's insane. The game may have made bank in sales, but given how terrible its cheating problem is right now, PUBG could potentially be in trouble.
It's awful. If you try to go in there, it's awful.
Good luck.
Have fun. When it comes to Overwatch, we've seen some pretty amusing character emotes, and we've gotten even to admire Moira's Naruto-style running. But one fan present at a recent Overwatch League event shed some light on a pretty important issue with a sign declaring, "Let Zen walk!" And it's true, why haven't we ever seen Zenyatta walk? Well, the Overwatch team has officially delivered, releasing a short video of the Omnic hero doing just that, in a quirky style that some fans are regarding as cringy and even absolutely terrifying. So maybe the video is just the answer as to why Zen opts to float instead of walk. Well, now that we got the mystery solved, I know that I, like many others, are pretty anxious for the mystery of hero number 27 to be solved. Speculation has included that Torbjorn's daughter, a character named Amir, was mentioned in a news story update, and even the Queen of Junkertown. That'd be cool. The team has already been testing out the new hero, so we can expect this announcement very soon.
That's exciting.
I have a lot of ideas, but I'm gonna keep them. I don't want Blizzard to take my ideas.
Don't take them. The results for the second Crunchyroll Anime Awards are finally in, with the ever-popular My Hero Academia winning several categories, much like Yuri on Ice did last year. The second season of MHA won Best Action, Best Animation, and Best Opening, while Izuku, Stain, Shoto, and Ochaka were crowned Best Hero, Best Villain, Best Boy, and Best Girl, respectively. Other winners include Made in Abyss, March Comes In Like a Lion, Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, The Ancient Magus Bride, Girl's Last Tour, Your Name, and Land of the Lustrous.
Congratulations to all the winners.
Yay!
All of them are lovely shows.
Yay!
So that's all we have this time for news this week.
And now that you've had your fix, when we come back, Matt will be giving you the latest from the comic book realm.
Stick around.
Today, when you have multiple devices at your fingertips, wouldn't it be great if you could run the software you need on all of them? Well, now you can. UCF Apps is a new and innovative way for you to access the applications that you need to get your coursework done from any PC, Mac, tablet, or smartphone. For more information or to give your input on UCF Apps, go to apps.ucf.edu. What are you waiting for? Start using UCF Apps today.
Do you like sports? Do you like reading about sports? Then we got a sports blog just for you. Stay on my peripherals. That's not far. Hitting the field.
The first student-run sports blog.
For sports fans.
By sports fans.
See, it's all about the product shot.
Where do you want me to stand?
Don't talk though. I want them to see the whole.
Hitting the field. We cover football. We cover basketball. And so much more.
He's out. By sports reporters. And Meech.
What up? Watch the show and read the sports blog. Hitting the
Field.
Today, when you have multiple devices at your fingertips, wouldn't it be great if you could run the software you need on all of them? Well, now you can. UCF Apps is a new and innovative way for you to access the applications that you need to get your coursework done from any PC, Mac, tablet, or smartphone. For more information or to give your input on UCF Apps, go to apps.ucf.edu. What are you waiting for? Start using UCF Apps today.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Expansion Pack's Comic News. I'm Matthew Salavaria. Let's get started. We have a tease to the possible end of Amadeus Cho as Totally Awesome Hulk. Amadeus Cho has been a Hulk with the title of Totally Awesome Hulk since 2015. Now that time may be coming to an end. Marvel released a description of April's Incredible Hulk issue number 717, titled The Monster's End, stating that the curse of the Hulk has turned into a horror, and now Amadeus enters his final showdown with the monster within. With the knowledge that Bruce is making his return before this issue's release, it seems very likely that Amadeus' time is coming to an end. Continuing our Hulk news, we finally have the return of the tried and true Bruce Banner Hulk, and he is very angry. Bruce has been gone for a year with his cousin Jennifer taking over the role as Hulk. Bruce's absence was because he was killed off by Hawkeye in 2016 Civil War II. He was killed off with a special arrow. Bruce developed the arrow himself as a way for other heroes to bring him down in case his rage ever went too far. Thankfully, Bruce will be making his grand return in Avengers number 684, No Surrender, in stores next month. And our last major news story today is, yes, another relaunch. Marvel has announced their Fresh Start relaunch dated for June. This relaunch will debut not even a full year since Marvel's last relaunch, Marvel Legacy, back in September. This relaunch will bring everything back to issue 1 just after bringing them back to their original numbering with Legacy. This relaunch will conveniently be bringing Avengers back to issue 1 just in time for Infinity War. Yet I bet that is a total coincidence. It's not like Marvel has ever exploited the release of their films to boost comic sales by having issue 1s out that are related to the films. Well, that brings an end to our Marvel-heavy news week, and now to our poll list for today. We have Action Comics number 998, Batgirl number 20, Flash number 41, Mara Queen of Atlantis number 1, Moon Knight number 192, All New Wolverine number 31, Champions issue 17, Doctor Strange number 386, and Rick and Morty number 35. That's all for today's comic news. We'll be back in a second where we will have a conversation with the game developer Knights. Stick around.
Today, when you have multiple devices at your fingertips, wouldn't it be great if you could run the software you need on all of them? Well, now you can. UCF Apps is a new and innovative way for you to access the applications that you need to get your coursework done from any PC, Mac, tablet, or smartphone. For more information or to give your input on UCF Apps, go to apps.ucf.edu. What are you waiting for? Start using UCF Apps today.
Do you like sports? Do you like reading about sports? Then we got a sports blog just for you. Stay on my peripherals. That's not fun. Hitting the field.
The first student-run sports blog.
For sports fans.
By sports fans.
See, it's all about the product shot.
Where do you want me to stand?
Don't talk though. I want them to see the hole.
Hitting the field. We cover football. We cover basketball. And so much more. He's out.
By sports reporters. And Meech.
What up? Watch the show and read the sports blog. Hitting the field.
Today, when you have multiple devices at your fingertips, wouldn't it be great if you could run the software you need on all of them? Well, now you can. UCF Apps is a new and innovative way for you to access the applications that you need to get your coursework done from any PC, Mac, tablet, or smartphone. For more information or to give your input on UCF Apps, go to apps.ucf.edu. What are you waiting for? Start using UCF Apps today.
Hey guys, welcome back. Now, instead of a discussion this week, we're going to be having an interview with the UCF's Game Dev Knights. They are a gaming developing group.
Yes.
You're not an organization or like an official organization with UCF. You just kind of like, we're a group and we're here.
Actually, we are a club here.
Oh, okay. So you're an official club.
We
just
are an
making
official
sure.
Club. Yeah.
So why don't you guys introduce yourself, who you are, what you guys do in the group, and just a little intro of the group.
Certainly. I'm Tyrone. I'm the treasurer of Game Dev Knights, and this is Angel.
Yeah, I'm Angel Rodriguez. I'm the secretary.
Yep.
Nice.
And so our club is basically just, again, formulated around the idea of like trying to help students like create games, essentially. So what we do to that end is like we hold a bunch of workshops, like programming workshops, modeling workshops, anything that has to do with game development. And then we like put those skills to the test. Like we have game jams, essentially. Like those are like 48-hour weekends where you try to make a game in that time. And we have all kinds of people show up. Like we have experienced people, and then we have people who have never touched a game like at all. So
okay, well that's actually one of the questions I have. Was I know you guys recently just had a game jam for Valentine's Day, right? So how did that go? Like, what did you guys do there? In specifics, I would say.
Certainly. Do you want to go over that?
Yeah, sure. So game jams are my favorite part.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we try and schedule them in advance. We have to find a location, and we've been doing it at the OTC, the Orlando Tech Center, like near UCF.
Awesome.
And so we got something like 50-ish. 40.
We had like around 54 people or so. Yeah,
nice.
like a good show.
That's a good chunk.
Yeah.
We get a bunch of people. We try to get people not just in the game design major, but we'll get computer science people. We'll get people who just do art who've never.
I was going to say like digital art people. Awesome.
One great thing is we'll ask like for how many people is this their first game jam, and a good like third or something or half of people will raise their hand.
I think it was like half this time.
Yeah, it's a good amount.
That's awesome.
So we bring them over, and then we start Saturday morning. We have people, we give them like 10 minutes or something to come up with like a quick pitch. And then you form small groups. I think we kept it under 5 this time.
6.
Yeah. So under 6.
Yeah.
It's like, I gotta make sure the numbers. He's the numbers guy. He's the numbers guy.
So we keep the groups under 6. And then we just spend the rest of Saturday and then Sunday up until like the dreaded like 6 p.m. deadline.
So you just close the doors, turn the lights off, don't see the outside world. We're working today and till tomorrow.
I wish we could do a lock-in.
We encourage breaks and sleeping. Yeah.
Yeah, we kick everyone out like at 10 p.m. and tell them to try and get sleep.
That's good.
I never do. Don't tell anyone.
You're not a true developer if you sleep.
Oh goodness gracious.
Yeah.
So if I'm gonna ask a little bit of questions about like developing.
Sure.
When starting new projects, where do your ideas typically go? Do you have like a game mechanic that you go towards, an art direction, like art styles, a simple like type of game? Like where do you guys, both of you, if you have different opinions?
So we actually have like we come from different ends of the spectrum. So for me personally, I start off with the narrative. I kind of think of like what is the story or message that I want to tell, and I try to derive a game mechanic out of it.
That's awesome.
So for example, like my most recent like side project has been like trying to make like a tactical dating simulator, like
Nice.
and so it's like a turn-based like grid system. And for me, the reason why that came about is because I view dating and like interpersonal reactions in that kind of way. Like how do I strategize around these people? How do I make sure I know where I stand with these different people and move around in that way? So that's for me. And then for Angel, I think he
So I come from more of the gameplay side. I like to have some sort of mechanic, some idea, and then I like the narrative to be as closely related to that, to sort of come from that.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the end of the day, it ends up being a mix, right? This is like, you know, the first 30 minutes. But what you're trying to do is come to some sort of kernel, and everything should work together, right? So you're saying, you know, you come up with a narrative that leads to a mechanic, and sometimes I assume they inform each other, right?
Yeah.
But at the end, you're like, here's my game with my narrative and my mechanic. In my case, I like to do smaller indie games. So having like a unique kind of mechanic, like a certain way of jumping. And I'm a programmer. We're both actually programmers.
Yeah. I would hope so.
There's a ton of artists. It's actually kind of the minority in the
Do you guys dabble
club.
in the art or no? You just like, that's over there.
Yeah, I usually kind of like have someone else handle that for me in a lot of ways. But that's why, like for example, art direction, some other developers that we have in the club like might actually start off of, I want to make like this kind of world or like this experience, and so they'll go from that angle.
Kind of like a painting coming to life into a game. So when it comes to like developing, is there a game developer already out there in the world that you would like to work with, or like you would see like this is my like future job, like I would love to work for this developer, or would you want to start your own company, like just be like, I'm the #1 dog now? I don't care about those companies.
I think that's like an interesting question, because for me, a lot of like what pushes me away from like wanting to pursue like kind of work with like different developers is like that mention you meant before of that crunch time. And I think it's relevant, you know, it's part of the experience of working in game development and just any like tech field. You have like deadlines you have to meet. But I guess like for me, it would maybe be like Blizzard, maybe, because I find like they have some really interesting stuff going on. Naughty Dog is another big one.
Yeah.
But more likely, I would probably just make something on my own, you know.
It's easier to work for yourself and do what you want to do than be told what to do. I completely understand. Angel, do you have a...
Yeah, that's a question that I feel, it's almost like our introduction in the major. It's like, hi, my name is Angel, I would like to work for, or whatever.
Really?
Yeah, people like to ask that, like, hey, what company do you want to work for? And definitely like Naughty Dog, some of these companies are incredible, and I would be privileged to work at one of those. But personally, I actually was a computer science major for a while. This guy still is.
Nice.
But I actually switched to the game design major because I realized that what I really want to do is develop games, right? Start to bottom. When I was a kid, I would look up like how to make games. And I love the way indie's going. I love the way development has been made easier by engines for people to just by themselves make games. So I would like to at least try like the indie route. So it's a little weird when people are like, hey, what company? And I'm always like, I'm going to start my own.
Well, that's why I gave my question. I'm like, well, if you want to start your own, I absolutely understand that, because I'm in the RTV track, and what I want to do productions, but I don't want to do like TV shows and stuff like that. I want to do like live tournaments for gaming and like in gaming events. So like that's where like I can see why you changed your major to game design. It's like I want to take my major into that track too. But you said engines. Is there like a specific engine you guys use frequently or more often?
I think the both of us end up using Unity a lot.
Yeah.
Like I think the main draw behind that for both of us is like things like it's pretty much royalty free, essentially.
Yeah,
like
it's really make $100,000.
But like it definitely charges a lot less than something like Unreal does, for example. And then there's just like the individual quirks of the engine, or like we've both like gotten used to that. There's a lot of tutorials for that. So that's kind of like how we ended up getting into it. But like it's kind of like agnostic. Like anything that you learn from one, you could like take over to the other.
Yeah.
There might be some quirks that you have to get through. Like Unreal has some very interesting like programming quirks.
Yeah.
But overall, like, you know, like after you figure out like things like transforms and like how you move things across and like the idea behind everything, it's not too bad, you know.
Also from an art point of view, I mean, any game, like regardless of what engine, could be a great game. There's great games made in Game Maker. There's games just made by people by themselves. So before I switched to the major at UCF uses Unity sort of as the introduction. And it's only when you get to like senior sort of projects that teams typically start using Unreal. But for me personally, I just started using Unity because that's what they used, and I just fell in love with it. So as an indie developer, and we're both programming minded, Unity has an appeal, and I've started to really particularly enjoy it, and they have certain fellowships for developers and things.
Yeah. So with I know with the game jams, you guys had projects. A lot of them were with Unity. I saw, and I know that you guys have almost like 8 projects completed. Was there a project that you guys worked on that was your favorite? And that might be a tough question because you don't want to be like, oh, I don't really like this project. Or,
well, I for this latest game jam, I try to go to every game jam. I just like ravenously devour game jams. I love going.
I love it.
So for this latest one, because it was Valentine's Day, I brought my girlfriend, and it was just the 2 of us making a game. And that was her first one. I'm like, I want to show you how stressful this is.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah, welcome to my world. And we came up with this really cute like pixel art like cat-based like game, and the idea was
Doki Doki Kaiju City. I think
it was Doki Doki Kaiju Cat City.
Doki Doki coming at me.
Yeah. And then it was so much fun. It was just the 2 of us, so you know we didn't have a whole group to work with, and it was super stressful, which was my goal. And it was this game where you have 2 dance pads and you have to like hit like the button at the same time, like 2 DDR.
I'm a DDR person, so yes, I'm all about this.
And it was like super cute, and you move around, and I got to do a lot of fun like programming tech stuff, and
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite project?
I don't quite know. Like it's
hard.
It's like for me, it's kind of just I enjoy like each individual one for like their specific things. And so it's like hard for me to like really pick one out.
Of course.
I guess like the one that I thought like had the most promise was the one I did at the game jam recently, because it felt like if I like how to say defined the mechanics more and like took it like polished it up a bit, I felt like it was something that I could actually like put out to like to the Switch or something like that. It was like a 2-player bullet hell type game where the players were tethered together, so they couldn't like move too distant apart from each other at any given point in time. And so I was like, oh, this is like a fun like just core basic mechanic. Like, what could I do with this? And so it was just something that I thought was fun.
That's awesome. I always ask people this when they come on the show, like whatever we're talking about. What is your favorite game? Like, it doesn't have to be like anything you've made. It doesn't have to. It could be any game in the world that's been made since back in the day to now.
That's true.
Favorite game.
I always ask this because I want to know what kind of style you guys like.
I mean, I live and breathe games, right? I wouldn't pull these hours if I didn't really like it. So to that end, I love just like appreciating so many games. This is a difficult question. So I guess I like answering that sort of from like a significance point of view. I love the first Legend of Zelda. The fact that it was like the first like RPG really, and it was on the NES, and it was like an open world game. Just things like that.
I think for me it was Tales of Symphonia,
Nice.
which was like a game for the GameCube. For me it was like the first big RPG that I ever played, and like one of the things that really stuck out to me was kind of how they played with a lot of the tropes at the time for like these various RPGs with each individual character.
That's what you...
Yeah, so that for me was always like the really cool one, and like the gameplay itself was like really solid and actiony. So.
Okay, well, we're running short on time. It was a great discussion. Where can people find you guys? What can they go to look up to see more information real quick?
So the primary way that we kind of get our information out is through our Facebook group page. But we do also now have like Twitter, and I think there was like another, we also have a Discord channel.
Yeah.
So all 3 of those venues, just give out information about our club.
Okay.
And so you can we have a workshop this coming weekend and also next weekend. So this one's going to be on VR, and the next weekend's going to be on game design and particle systems.
That's awesome. Well, that's all the time that we have for today. I wish I have a lot more questions to ask. So I'll probably ask them later. But thank you guys for staying tuned for this week, and we'll see you next week.
Songs of hate, a little bit of everything in between.
Sounds like it runs the emotional gamut.
Yeah, yeah.
Very cool. Well, we're wrapping up the show, so I want to say to everybody that came and watched at home,